if I sound a little bit tired.
Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics here. Welcome tonight to a live stream. We're gonna tonight. I've got actually a special guest from the guys at the Warriors Fan TV YouTube channel. Actually, they're on all the platforms. Got Instagram, Twitter, all those platforms. They're on TikTok, everywhere you can find them. Warriors Fan TV. They do some great work. Actually, they've only just started off this year, and they like to interview fans after the game. They have a general little live chat as well on the Monday night on their channels. So they're also on Facebook as well. And I've got a special guest. His name's Rio Daniela. How you going? Welcome to the channel. And what we're gonna do is review the game. Talk about that result from last week, and we're gonna get through player ratings as well. But welcome to the channel.
Oh, kia ora, Christian. Yeah, no, thanks for the invite, bro. It would be very remiss of me not to mention Nick Manarangi. Nick, he started the Warriors Fan TV, and he's doing a really good job. And kind of jumped in with him, and now there's a crew of us, and we do the Monday night reviews, a little team corridor, and put it out there in the Facebook space and all the rest of it. And it's going really well actually. But just shout out to Nick, and he's young fella's doing a good job.
Yeah, a big shout out to Nick as well. He got you into contact with me, so we can line this up. So big shout out to him. He does a great job, and he started out Warriors Fan TV, and he's one of the creators, that brought it together. So it's good on him, and good Warriors Fan TV. Go check them out, YouTube and all the platforms as well. So just before we get into the review, I generally like to when I have a guest on my channel, when it comes to previews or reviews, I like to let the guests get to know the guests first. So before doing the review, Rio, how did you become a Warriors fan? So how did it start out for you?
Yeah. Oh shucks. Pretty much from the start. Been following the Warriors since day one. Come from a league background myself. I only even played club level, and but got into league when I was 13. Started at high school. And just loved the game. Actually, was playing rugby for starters. Didn't even know anything about rugby, but a couple of the boys we were playing with were like, "Bro, you want to come play league on Sunday?" And I was like, "What's that?" And so went and played a league game. Loved it. Never went back to rugby, and been a follower ever since. But in regards to the Warriors, just they're my team. The whole idea of having a New Zealand-based team, what was the old Winfield Cup back in the day, before the Super League wars kicked off, and then it kind of became the NRL, and but always just loved the idea of having a New Zealand-based team. Even the name itself, the Warriors, it's synonymous with who we are as a people. And just kind of thought, nah, that's me. This is, I'm sticking with this team. Prior to the Warriors, used to follow Canberra, the Green Machine, and but it's very much the Warriors and the Kiwis for me. They're my two favorite teams. And just a hardcore league. Love league. Love where it's at right now here in Aotearoa in New Zealand. The Warriors are having a really outstanding season. And it's shown, with the fan bases and people jumping in, and the demise of Super Rugby. or the
Yeah.
the waning of the interest. People coming across, jumping ship, and it's like, yeah, no, all aboard, jump on and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, that's awesome because obviously a lot of Warriors fans have stories and how they became a fan. And you said you're a tragic rugby league fan, but you when you
Very much.
started off, you know nothing about rugby league. So I was at the start. I knew nothing about rugby league, and obviously rugby union is a bigger code in New Zealand. So my first Warriors game, I attended. That was my first rugby league match live at Mount
Oh
Smart.
wow,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was in my first rugby league match I've ever seen. So, I watched it and I didn't know the rules back then. And since then, obviously, I've been a Warriors fan ever since. So you know, that's how I became a fan. And,
nice.
I've got, looking at back over the years, for you, what would you say was your favourite memory? Because, this team's obviously had its highs and lows for,
Mm.
we know that as a Warriors fan. We've been through the highs and lows, but what was your favourite memory that stood out for you as a Warriors fan? Like, would it be the grand final that we made in 2011 or 2022?
Yeah.
Or
Um, I think for me, and it sounds like a bit of a weird one, but
yeah,
the preliminary
yep,
finals back in 2011 and 2002. 2002, we played the Cornella,
yeah,
and that was a really close game. And but it was the kick that Stacey Jones put through for, I think it was John Carlo. Carlo scored, and as soon as he scored, it was like, wow, we've just made the grand final, first time ever, And yeah, that for me was quite a defining moment because the game was in the balance. Um, so yeah, so winning that game and then winning the preliminary final against the Tigers, and I think it was Christian Inu. Christian Inu, it was a freakish try, but he scored. Had Tigers players all around him. He scored, and that put us through to the grand final. So
yep,
so I guess for me, memories like that, they were hard earned. I mean, both squads from 2002, 2011, they definitely had different feels about them,
yeah,
but there was, mind you, that was a long time ago too. If I had to choose, I'd probably go with the 2002 squad, just because they had the players that were coming through. Don't know if you've seen those interviews, but like with Daniel Anderson,
yeah,
um,
yep,
you know, Stacey Jones was just he'd already cemented himself. He was a threat as a halfback. He was already making himself a name. In the Warriors and the Kiwis. So yeah, that 2002 squad was my favourite squad. There have been
yeah,
other players that I have really really liked, but as a
yep.
squad, as a team, the 2002 squad were definitely up there.
Yeah, and obviously 2002. That was our first grand final appearance. Daniel Anderson was the coach back then, and Daniel Anderson suffering from a bit at the moment. So believe we're
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
believe we're doing a bit of a fun foundation, a stadium. We're naming the stadium after him. So you know,
yeah. Round 25.
yeah,
So against Manly, and planning to go up for that game. I think it'll be a really really good game a good gauge to see where we're at as a team. But
yeah,
pushing more towards cementing our spot on the eight. But again, I mean, outside of that stuff, yeah, it's for a good cause. The clubs that Daniel coached at, they've all kind of got around and decided let's do this for him. And he was a steward for, not just for us, it was Parramatta as well. A couple of
yeah.
Super League teams. They've all kind of jumped on. So that's really cool. And personally, it's like, yeah, that'll be the game round 25 against Manly. Um, it'll be the game to be at.
Yep, yeah. I just got a viewer here. I'm just saying, yeah, we're on the show. True, like is important on Warriors Fan TV. Got a viewer called T Miller. So
Yeah. Oh no, thanks for that.
yeah. So what would you say? What would you say is your like a game that you attended? Say as a game you attended? Did you say it was one of your most memorable as a Warriors fan?
It would have to be we were playing the Dragons,
Yep.
and I can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019, but it was the first time we'd beaten them twice in a season.
Yeah.
But the game we attended was the first win, and the Dragons had the wood on us for years, for such a long time. And one of my workmates was a staunch Dragon supporter, so we're just giving each other grief for the whole week. And then at the game, more so towards the end of the game, because we'd won it, but I'd Facebook my mate and just said, "I hope you're watching this, bro, because your team's just about to lose." and,
Yeah.
yeah. So those traditional games against the teams that have been around a lot longer than us, and yeah, winning games like that was just. I mean, the atmosphere at Mount Smart that night was just electric, man. You
Yeah.
know, I had two of my kids with me, and another good mate. But where we were sitting, the crowd was just going crazy. And to win it was choice. Yeah, good vibe, good feeling, good night.
Yeah, and obviously there's so many good memories. We may have had some bad times as well, but we had some good times. So you got to think of the
Yeah,
positives as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. Yeah. So favorite player. What would you say your favorite player, um, past and past and present? So who was your favorite Warriors player that you enjoyed watching?
Yeah. Oh shucks, bro. Yeah, that's a hard one because I've always had
Yeah.
the same three players as my favourite Warriors players. Stacey Jones, for obvious reasons.
Yep.
Stacey Jones, Ruben Wiki, and Steve Price. They were, yeah, when they um, Stacey's just a club legend, and I've always felt and believed that try he scored in the 2002 grand final, the solo effort. You won't see many solo efforts like that. He made that try out of nothing. He beat like 100 defenders. He might as well have, but he stepped his way to the line, um, scores, and even his reaction because he never reacts like that. But the way he scored that try was just, it was just like, mate, um, yeah. So Jonesy, the little general, Ruben Wiki again. I mean, admittedly, he was a Canberra legend, but him coming to us and you could see with just the mana that he brought with him,
Yep.
and everyone respected him. I think it was 2008, one of the semis we played the Roosters at Mount Smart, and that run that he done when he took out I think it was Sia Solomona. Well, sorry, I can't remember the young fella's name, but he just ran at him, and again, it was one of those hits where it's usually the guy. Doing the tackle that puts a hit on like that. But he laid this young fella out. No, it was I'm pretty sure it was um a Kiwi, another Kiwi player, but that just kind of established who Ruben Wiki was. He'd been like that his whole career. And Steve Price, I've always liked the way Pricey played. He was led by example. Brought his autobiography. Really interesting reading.
Yeah.
But he was good for us. He was good for the club. How he handled himself. Um, and I think even the whole when Sunny Fi passed, and
Yeah.
one of those interviews where the journalist asked Steve Price about how is this affecting you as a player, and the guy broke down and he starts crying, and it's just like, wow, far out, this guy's but he was like that, and he was a leader amongst the forwards, but he was a leader in the team in his own right. So yeah, so sorry, bro. I don't have one favorite player. I've got three. Yeah,
No, yeah, that's all good. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really name, like, you know, particularly just one player, like, because we've had so many club legends, like Steve Price and, Ruben Wiki. We had, Stacey, all the names,
yeah,
name a
yeah,
few.
yeah,
So Stacey Jones is one of my favourite players. Like, growing up, and I got to meet Stacey Jones last year. Actually, at a Warriors game in
Nice,
Redcliffe. After the
nice,
game, got a photo with him. So that was my first photo with Stacey Jones. So pretty
nice.
awesome. Yeah, I was
Yeah, yeah,
starstruck as well. So yeah, it was awesome to get a photo with him. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Nice, bro.
yeah. Anyway, so well, what are your thoughts on this season so far for the Warriors? The boys have obviously had it tough the past couple of years. With COVID-19, we had to play, be based in Australia. We
Yeah,
haven't been able to come home, and we've had some, obviously tough times on the field, but off the field as well. With coaching changes and being away from families for so long. But what are your thoughts like when you looked at this season? What were your expectations? Did you have very high expectations going into this year, being a new coach and Andrew Webster, or did you come into this year thinking, look, we'll just avoid the bottom four, and just show some
yeah,
improvement from the last couple of years?
yeah. I think for me, so like the vast majority, um, when we heard that Andrew Webster was going to be, the assistant coach from Penrith is going to be our head coach. Initially, I was like, "Who's that?"
Yeah,
Yeah, so kind of googled him, and kind of looked him up, and then realised he was an assistant to Kepi, and it was just like, oh, okay. So he'd been off the club previously, but I read a really good article on him about how he actually started his coaching in the States, and
yeah,
left such a really good impression there. Went from the States. I think he went from the States to England, done some coaching gigs there, but the article kind of emphasised everywhere he went, he had really good success, and like even with the sorry, bro, I can't remember the name of the club that he coached initially in the States, but he still would go back if the team had make the grand final or whatever.
yep,
Um, or if they invited him back, and he'd go to prize givings and stuff. That was just his way of keeping in touch. And yeah, so reading about that stuff, and then you hear about who was it, the Cameron the
Cameron
CEO,
George.
who
Yep,
Cameron
yep,
George.
yep,
He spoke to Stacey Jones about, hey, how do you what do you think about Andrew Webster as a head coach? And Jonesy endorsed him and said, yeah, man, absolutely. And
yeah,
it's just like, oh wow, okay. Um, so there was already some inside knowledge about Andrew Webster, even if it was back in 2017, whatever. Um, but when you've got players like Stacey Jones endorsing him, then there's obviously something there. So no, yes, I didn't know him from a bar. So and then even his recruitment, some of the players that he brought with him was just like, wow, really. Um, and I'll be honest, bro, when they said Dylan Walker was coming to us, I'd always thought Dylan Walker was a grub. Um,
yeah,
but to his credit, he's come over, and he's doing an outstanding job for us. Um, for me, that's probably more because of the likes of Andrew Webster, and that he's gone out and chosen, uh, the types of players that he wants to bring in, and build a culture around, build a club around. So yeah, I'm wrapped. I was happy for, when you consider we were definitely bottom three the last couple of years. Um, you know, coming into this season, it was more, it, yeah, as long as we can get off the bottom half of the table, I'll be happy. Because for me, it's like every time we have a new coach, it's going to take at least 2-3 seasons to,
yeah,
to implement what they want in the team and the players and the style of play and blah blah blah. Um, I mean, he's done that in the space of what, 18 rounds, 19 rounds, and those first up initial wins, it was kind of like, oh wow, okay. Start of the season, we're well within the top four, and yeah, I guess I was kind of waiting for the bubble to
yeah,
burst, but it was, it's been encouraging. It's been really really good to watch and just see where the team's at, and even the post match interviews.
yeah,
When you see, um, Webby or Uncle Andaru, Talk about, the little things that they're working on and that they want to get better at, and it's just like, mate, this guy knows his stuff, and he's tapped into the players, he's got them where he wants them to be, and they're winning. Oh well, not only winning, but they're happy.
Yeah,
I said it on the Warriors fan TV, and I think a few of us have all said the same thing. None of us have seen Sean Johnson as happy as what he is right now this
yeah,
season. And yeah, I think even when he burst onto the scene, and I mean, we're talking 10 years ago. Young fella, keen as mustard, had the step, had the pace, had the speed, had
yeah,
the trick plays, whatever.
yep,
But I think he's even right here, right now. He's a lot happier doing what he's doing. He's home. He's back with the whānau. None of that COVID rubbish. And yeah, he's just happy, man. And it's well, besides Friday night's game,
yeah.
we've actually had a really good run. We've had a really good run.
Yeah, and speaking of Friday night's game, we'll go through it now actually. So we'll have a review of the game which was played at Go Media Stadium. I still know it as Mount Smart Stadium
Yeah, yeah,
personally, but
yeah.
sponsorship reasons and that. So but obviously it was a very wet Auckland. The weather was torrid. Windy. Cold. Just your typical New Zealand type weather.
Yeah.
Um, I think going into this game, like I thought, like if it was dry, I felt a little bit more confident. But as soon as I heard that it was raining, it brought me back to the game against the Roosters only a couple of weeks ago, where
Mm,
we really struggled.
yeah.
I was hoping we learned our lesson going into this game. I really hope that we learned our lesson from that game. But we started off all right, actually. We got the try there to Marcelo Montoya,
Yeah.
which was a very good play there. What was your thoughts on that play there that we where we take a 6-0 lead? We're pretty much dominant with possession, and territory. Stats were heavily in our favour. We had a few, penalties going our way as
Mm,
well. What
yeah.
were your thoughts on that start? The first try there to Marcelo Montoya.
Yeah. So that first half, it was actually quite even, and we
Yeah,
did have a lot of calls go our way, and um, the game was kind of, it was hard case because the bunnies were making they were making mistakes, and we were getting on top of them, and then we scored. Um, and it was a nicely played set play. They got Montoya into the corner, and
yeah,
um, it was just good to see. Um, the Yeah, but I'm just sorry, bro. Just going over the notes.
yep. No worries, all good.
Um, those there were a couple. Okay, so there were a couple of high tackles in there. The bunnies got away with three of them. I mean, we got the penalties for them, but no one got simbined. And
Yeah,
so I was watching the game Friday night and thinking, oh, yeah, sweet as. But then
yep,
Aiden does a high shot and gets 10 minutes, and I was like, wow, really? um,
yeah,
um,
yep,
yeah, that was kind of out there because I was just like, hang on, you just yeah, we got the penalties for those three high shots, but you've just sent one of our key players, and up to that point, Aiden for me was a real standout. He was he was working hard Friday night, and it was
yeah,
just like it was just kind of, it was very unexpected him getting sent off like that. And we still got to wait to see um what sort of punishment's going to follow. If he's going to get a fine or friggin' suspension.
yep,
And it's hard not to buy into that biased side of things because
yeah,
I mean
yeah,
personally, yeah, I don't want to, because everyone's on that bandwagon, and it's just like,
yep,
bro, every team gets shitty calls. It's just sometimes it just feels like we get a couple of extras put on top. Um, and saying that, Ashley Klein, I actually didn't think he done too bad a job. He
yep,
officiating, yeah, yeah. There were just times it was just kind of, yeah, yeah. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but it was a couple of his calls were just like, really, bro. Um, and even that send off, Aiden getting sent off. Tohu's in his ear. Asking
Yeah.
them, you didn't even give them a warning, give us a warning or whatever. So yeah, um, but we were in it. We were definitely in it in that first half.
Yep.
Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I'll just go through some of the viewers' comments here. So I got the close stuff in regards to the game. He's saying the game on the weekend we tried to go around them instead of smashing them up front. He got frustrated when we didn't capitalise on our chances. Walker put on a masterclass of wet weather kicking. Absolutely, yeah. Cody Walker, especially in that game, was
mm,
one of the differences for me.
absolutely. Yeah.
If you looked at who played better in terms of the halves for each side, um, Cody Walker for me was far the better half on the field
Mm,
than our halves.
yeah.
I felt like Sean's been great this year. You can't fault Sean's performances and his effort every game, and
Mm.
this probably was one of his off games. His rare off games, which what are your thoughts on that? In regards to because the South Sydney Rabbitohs had a rookie playing there on the wing, I believe.
Yeah.
But they
Ah,
were kicking it to Alex Johnston all night, which I didn't quite understand why they kept kicking it consistently
yeah.
to.
Yeah, that was a funny one because you know you'd think that strategically they would have kicked to the new guy and just tried to see where he's at. Although he did take one of those bombs under pressure, and
Yeah,
he I think he
he
slid
did.
into the kick. So the kid was confident he knew what he was doing, and he got on with it. But yeah, I think strategically had Shawnee not only just put those bombs up, but if our chase, because there was a couple of times when he put those bombs up, we
Yep,
were we weren't right on top of them. We'd only our defenders would just get to or sometimes they were even just behind. The bunnies player would catch it and then make a dart somewhere, and then we'd get on top
yep.
of them. And I was just like, okay. Again, not sure if it was because of the conditions, but yeah, that was an interesting one, bro. Because it was just like we're just kicking position away, we're giving it back to them. And saying that, those
Yeah,
it's very much ingrained when we've got the opposition caught in their 20, our guys
yep.
are playing a rushing defense. They're pressing them and they're pressing them hard. And we did drive them back a couple of times, but they were they just seemed to the bunnies absorbed it. They just kind of sucked it up and just got on with it.
Yeah, and look, I mean, obviously we started this game, pretty well. Got that try, then had a lot of possession. Probably could have scored. Really could have scored a few more points. And South would just, I think, to South's credit, defensively they would just hang in there because a lot of talk around South was over the past couple of weeks is their defense and the amount of points that they've leaked. Obviously that game against the Cowboys, they
Mm,
conceded a lot of points, but their defense really showed up and
yeah.
their first opportunity of points, they took it straight away, which to our disappointment. What are your thoughts on that? Because the Bunnies did hit back and they scored that try to Alex Johnston there. What were your thoughts on
Yeah.
that play?
Yeah, I mean, Alex Johnson's all class,
Yeah,
and like he'll end up being one of those one club players. But yeah, they just they looked like they had the better game plan, and you know we can go on about how bad the weather was, but the bunnies were playing in the exact same conditions, and they just looked like they were handling it better than us. Um, yeah, they just weathered our storm. So that I mean, obviously the natural storm, but
yeah,
whatever the Warriors are throwing at them, they were just sucking it up, And when they got their opportunity, and I mean, Alex Johnson's all class. Give him that
he is.
opportunity, and he was always going to finish it. Yeah, and I think it was on that try as well where Dallin just, um, when he scored, yeah, I think it was Dallin that just got, and
Yeah,
and and again, it was kind of like there's been a couple of earlier in the season where Dallin would get caught out. He'd
yep,
be up um, too far forward and just get stripped. His opposite number would just get right around him, and it happened. It happened Friday night. So yeah, that was a bit of a kick in the teeth, considering we put all the pressure on, and then they managed to get out. They get out of jail, and then they score. And I was just like, oh, yeah,
yeah.
that was
So
disappointing.
yeah, Yeah, our centres and wingers got caught out especially, and I'm a
Mm,
massive fan of Rocco Berry. Some people are hypercritical of him, but in this play, obviously, he got a bit caught out in this one. But yeah,
mm,
also Dillon as well. So yeah, you just can't give a good player like Alex Johnston a lot of space.
yeah.
He'll make the most of it. So yeah, it was 6-4 from that on, and then I believe it was just the 33rd minute when Adam Fanua Blake. Now this one obviously you mentioned earlier. Adam Fanua Blake gets put on report, and the referee checks it. He says it's a sin bin. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on what I thought it was very harsh? I mean,
yeah,
I know it was
yeah.
high, like on replay, but I don't think it was a Sinman personally. But what do
Mm.
you think? What do you think of the call that went against us here when they sent AFB to the bin?
Yeah, oh, and I just completely surprised. I was just like, wow, really? Especially after seeing the, two or three high shots from the Bunnies, at least one of those, possibly two, should have got 10 minutes as well, but
Yeah,
it's the way the cookie crumbles. um, yeah, and I think even our players were surprised, It's just
yeah,
like, really? But yeah, I mean it's fish and chip paper now, but yeah, well and it definitely because Aiden was having a good game, and he was right up there. Um,
yeah.
and our goal line defense, to be fair, it has been good. Um, yeah, but their send off was rubbish. That was a rubbish call.
Yeah, and obviously after that, the bunnies did get the try to Cameron Murray, which was pretty easy try. Obviously, just
Yeah,
pretty soft, really through the middle. What were your thoughts from there on? We obviously started well, and then suddenly the bunnies get the lead. What was going through your mind after he scored that try?
yeah. Well, that try should have been reviewed. The amount of
Yeah,
games where you see players obstructed, and yeah, okay, Barnett was obstructed, and there was no way he was going to make that tackle. But the reality, it's like, but he was still obstructed.
yeah,
And the amount of games where you see that they go back when they review those sort of tries, and it's just like, no try. But they looked at that I don't know how many times, and it was just like, really, again, it was one of those really, bro, moments. It's just, yeah, because even on the replays you see it, and it's just like, come on, ref, that's obstruction, man. That's clearly our player getting taken out. Yeah, that was my thoughts on that one. Wasn't happy about how soft it was, but again, we yeah, they took the Bunnies had the opportunity and they took it.
yeah. So half time, the scoreline was the scoreline was 12-6. The bunnies got the lead there, and to the Rabbitohs' credit, they fought back pretty well after that early try they conceded, and
Mm.
yeah, took the lead going to half time. What were your thoughts at half time, like in regards to this game? Obviously, 12-6 is not bad, but we'd probably be disappointed to be down at halftime. What were your thoughts on the first half in general?
Yeah, so we started well. We did start well,
Yeah,
and we had opportunities. And yeah, I think walking down into the sheds half time, um, the Bunnies were definitely more confident than what we were.
yeah,
They yeah, the I guess the body language side of it. And again, was it because it was just freezing cold, and our guys yeah, they just seemed to be struggling, and it was like everyone was it just felt like they weren't all reading from the same page, everyone um yeah, like no one's reading from the same playbook. They all knew what the game plan was, and again, Uncle Anaru he had a game plan ready for this game. Um, I
yeah,
think I didn't catch all of the post match interview, but he did mention that like in the second half we'd come away from it for whatever reason. but they'd come away, and then we started making mistakes in that second half, and while we're making mistakes,
Yep.
the bunnies are building, and their confidence is getting higher and higher, and I mean even to the point where they um they would celebrate every little thing that they were doing, and um,
Yeah.
even that was starting to piss me off because it was just like,
Yeah.
mate, but it was like they got their
Yeah.
psychological edge, and our guys, it just sucked the energy out of us. So yeah,
Yeah.
very
So
frustrating.
obviously, yeah. See, the second half, obviously, I felt like we really need to start off well. But South Sydney, obviously, they got a try there to. It was a good kick there by Cody Walker, and Alex Johnston scores his second try of the game.
Mm,
16 points to 6. You're thinking if they, that next try, they score the next one, then you pretty much feel like it's, game over. Um,
yeah,
for
yeah.
me, once it got up to 22-6. What were your thoughts from that try and then on? Because from there on, South City completely just ran away with it. We struggled in that second
Yeah,
half.
yeah. That second Alex Johnson try, Cody had who was it? Sean Johnson had rushed up
Yeah,
on him and he'd missed the tackle, and it was just like, yeah, they really needed to be nailed. He needed to nail him because as soon as he'd beaten SJ, he just put on the perfect kick, and yeah, it was just like, but they were punishing us in defense as well. The
yeah,
bunnies, when they had us, they pretty much had us. They were dictating the terms that during those stages of the game, and like they're a big pack anyway. When you think of the comparisons between our forward pack and the bunnies, three or four of their front their forward pack, sorry, are just monsters. And um, yeah, they once we got onto their grind, they really did start dictating.
yeah. And the final score was 28 points to 6. So really, it was a 13 plus score in those conditions. So
Mm,
South, I think for me, pretty much what summed it up is they played to the conditions a lot better. Um, I
mm,
uh, I put up a post on a couple of the Warriors Facebook groups. I said that they played to the weather a lot better. Cody Walker's kicking game was outstanding, and yeah, I don't know what your overall like the way of wrapping this up. What do you think, like regards to this game? Because do you think this loss is a loss that we needed now? Because it might actually bring us back down to earth, and then we can go back and regroup. Or what do you think?
yeah, I think there was definitely a lot of expectation heading
Yeah,
into this game, um, and whether that weight of expectation had got to them, um, the yeah, the weather definitely played into it.
yeah,
Felt for the fans, and even on our interview tonight on Warriors TV, because Nick and Tarns went to the game, but they were saying there was heaps of Bunnies fans.
right,
Um,
yeah,
like they had big numbers at Mount Smart, and it was just like, oh wow, didn't realize that. So not only are their team playing well, but they've got good support, And I mean, the Warriors are the classic example of when especially when we're playing at Mount Smart, because Warriors fans are real passionate, and they're the sort of team that feed off that.
yeah,
When the fans are right behind them, the boys feel it. They get into it, and and it lifts them. And
yep.
yeah, but no, Nick was saying there was heaps of Bunny fans, Rabbitohs fans at the game, and they pretty much cheered their team home. They stuck to their game plan, and fans loved it. That was reciprocated, and then the players just got on with it, finished it off.
Yeah, yeah, and just going through some of the comments here, and got here a South Sydney Rabbitohs fan and Trevor. He's saying our defence hasn't been that desperate for a while. Yeah, it's something
Mm,
we haven't seen from South since the start of the season, where they were inside the top four. So yeah, congratulations to your bunnies on the win there, and well
mm,
played. And the close stuff saying, yeah, this is actually a very good comment. Yeah, Neokoro is a big body boy on the edge. Sean Johnson. Curran was
mm,
missed whole running. We needed Barney in the middle. Yeah, look,
mm,
yeah, I agree. I think we did miss Murata Niokore.
Yeah,
For me, what
absolutely.
are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he's yeah, the last three games. Oh, actually, for the season, when Marata's running, um, and they use him as like a centre, and
Yeah,
mate, like he's a big body. He's got pace. He punches the line. And he's dragging defenders, and he always makes good yards. And then when he's on D, when he's defending, he's hunting. And it's like, mate, he's out to one, he's out to smash people, but two, it's yeah, like the suspension side of it, the sin bin side of it, and no doubt Uncle Anderu's on top of that stuff. He's I love it when Marata's playing because he's one of those ones that can add fear to opposition. Players that are that are eyeing up our forward pack. Marata, Aiden, Barney. Those three are enforcers, and when they're out there together, they especially on D, they go hunting. And so yeah, so we missed him. We definitely missed him, and we definitely missed Joshy.
yep. So just reading up on how the game finished. So we got 5 tries here to ourselves, and the Warriors
Mm,
scored the 1 try. Marcelo Montoya for us. Sean Johnson 1 from 1 kicks. Alex Johnston, he scored 2 tries. Cameron Murray, and we also had Tyrone Munro as well, who made
mm,
his debut, first grade debut for our
yeah,
City Rabbitohs here. So he actually played pretty well. Actually, pretty solid debut for
yeah,
him for his
yeah,
first game in the NRL.
yeah.
Blake Taffy, he had 3 from 5 conversions and a penalty goal as well there. So those are that's the information from the game there. So yeah, look, standout players. Who would you say was your standout player for the Warriors in this game? Like you can have more than one, but you
Mm.
can also maybe have a standout player for the Rabbitohs as well. But who are your standout players overall in this game?
Yeah, I'll pass on the Rabbitohs one, bro. Nah, um,
Yeah,
the for me, Aiden was
yep,
okay. He got sent off for 10 minutes, but when he was out there, he was trying his guts out, and yeah, he of the forwards amongst the forwards, he was leading the way. I really liked what Aiden was bringing. Um, Metcalf, I do like the young fella. He had a bit of a quiet night,
yeah,
but he did have a couple of really good snipes. But what we noticed as well is when I think he made one really really good run, but there was no one outside him. And yeah, yeah. So Aiden for me would have been my man of the match. Player of the day. Just in those conditions, he kept fronting up, kept doing his job, was making yards post contact, and he's been playing like that all season. To be fair, he but he was my pick of the bunch.
yep, yeah. So just going through the comments live chat here, he's saying the close stuff saying here we can't afford Nia Corey to get suspended anymore, leading
Mm,
to finals. He needs to drop his tackle technique and lower big time. And Jacko is saying here in regards to Jazz Tavanga. So Jazz back soon. So when near Corey and Curran get back to the side, we'll be near full strength. So yeah, we've got to
mm,
remember that Jazz Tavanga is probably not far away
mm,
as well. And you got Tamari Martin as well coming back, and so we've got some players still to come back as well.
mm. And I mean, again, that just highlights um, that we haven't had our strongest squad on the paddock. We
Yeah,
once we get the our best team available and all our
yep,
all our top players are fit and ready and battle hardened, because the playoffs are going to be another couple of gears up. But yeah, once we get these guys back, and because I actually believe that the combinations are coming together nicely,
yeah,
and that again, that's you know Uncle Andaru. whatever he said to the players, everyone's bought into it. It's not just about the 13 that take the field, but the bench players, even the New South Wales Cup side.
Yeah,
When they're given
yeah,
their opportunities, they know that this is you know, the coaches actually instilled in them. You're good enough to be here. And I really like that. I like that belief in the team. Yeah, we lost it. We did lose it. We just lost our way Friday night. Um, but there's enough good stuff from the team to learn from that.
yep.
Improve the yeah. I mean, leading into the not just the Eels game, but the Eels game, the Sharks, and the Raiders. Those are still potentially really really hard games. Um, yes, it will be. It'll be interesting to see how we pan out next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and just reading comment here, Tamari Martin, Jacko saying, yeah, Tamari Martin's having trouble with his recovery, and he will not be back for a while. But Metcalf is improving and has more attack. Folks seem to forget that Metz missed half the season with an injury. So
Mm,
yeah, he
yeah,
did. Yeah, for sure. Like in preseason, we saw, that trial game against the Tigers. I know it wasn't, a fully fit Tigers side, but
yeah.
but it was good to see him like out there, playing his first game. That so
Mm.
yeah, actually, the close stuff's got a question here. So does Tamari Martin come straight back in when he's back? Tamari Martin's still a while away from being back, though. What are your thoughts there on that?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's once he's fit and ready, you might want to give him a run in the South Wales Cup just to get him up to speed. Um, and I mean, obviously, we talked about it earlier, but Johnson's out for this week.
Yep.
Unless this baby's born in the next couple of days, but even
Yeah.
still, as a young dad, it's like, nah, whānau first, bro.
Yep.
Stay home, look after mumsy, look after the kids, and it's not that it's a new trend, but I think it's choice that all the clubs are supporting players in that way. They're giving them their time off so they can be at home. And Shawnee's the sort of guy that'll come back even better for it. To Mighty, yeah, I'd love to see him come straight back in, but he has been off for a while. So maybe a run in the New South Wales Cup wouldn't be a bad thing to get a gauge. And again, like we were saying before, um, Ronald Voltman, give him another shot, see how the young fella goes, and Dylan Walker's a good cover as well. So we still do have options.
Yep. Yeah. So on to your man of the match for this game. You're 3-2-1. So who would you? Obviously, this is tough because it's hard to really point out a standout sort of player, man of the match, because it was a difficult game for us.
Mm.
But who was your 3-2-1, your man of the match?
Is that like my third best player, second best,
Yeah.
and first?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that is a hard one, bro. Um, uh, like our backs. Yeah. I'm gonna trying to not. I'm trying not to sound too one-sided, but I'm always going to lean towards the forward pack as a former forward.
Yeah.
um, and in those conditions, it's your forwards it's all about laying the platform. And our forwards
Yeah.
they were trying their best. I guess for me, my number three would be Barnett, Mitch Barnett. Um,
Yep.
so he made two stuff ups, one in the first half, one in the second half. But besides that, I thought he actually played really well. And he's a mongrel on defense, and that's they're the sort of second rows that we want, front rows. They just get out there and want to fold fellas and cut them in half. Um, so Barney would be my number three for me. Number two, I'd actually go Jacko Jackson Ford. I thought he played. I thought he played well. One of the stats that we brought up tonight for him was he'd made 51 tackles with one miss.
Yep.
He's but he's doing he and Webby's already said that Jackson's got a big engine. He's going to run all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he actually played really well. So he'd be my number two, and number one. Mentioned him before, but Aiden for me was my man of the match. He
Yep.
Yeah, okay, he got sent off, but when he was out there, he was no, I thought he was outstanding. I'd like to mention as well just Bunty. I thought Bunty had a good game. He wasn't on for the entire game, but when he was on, he was punching the line. He was making yards. And to be fair, Bunty's not one of our bigger forwards, bigger
No.
props.
Yeah.
But Friday night he was taking those hit ups, and he's more renowned for his defense. So he's sound. He's tight as on D.
Yep.
But no, yeah, he special mention Bunty, but my 3-2-1 is definitely in the four pack.
Yep. Yeah. Fair. That's a very good one actually. That's a very good 3-2-1. For me, actually, this is quite difficult, but I'll go 3 CNK. I thought CNK was alright actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go CNK. 2, I'll go Adam Fanua Blake, and number 1, I'm going to go with Harris. I had to go Harris actually. I thought Harris was. I thought
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty solid actually. I thought he had a pretty good game. So that's my 3-2-1 there. But
Nice.
there may be people that disagree with mine, but that's what I've gone
No,
with. Yeah.
that's all good. Tohu made 51 tackles as well. It was 0
Yeah.
misses. So it's like wow, guy's a workhorse.
Yeah. So now I'll just look into the game stats. So position wise, we had the Rabbitohs there at 56%, the Warriors at 44%. Completion rate. Now this one, Andrew Webster talked about it. I think he mentioned a bit about the errors that we made in the press conference. And look, yeah, I probably agree. I think our completion rate was probably far worse in South Sydney. He had a better completion rate. He had like 69% to the Warriors. Rabbitohs 92%. It's very high in those wet weather conditions. So
heck
yeah.
And that's low
So
for us. 69%. That's well below our completion rate. Yeah. Wow. 92%. Jeez.
yeah, 92%, which is so good in wet weather conditions to be completing that high. And so looking at the meters and the runs, so all runs, Warriors 153, the Bunnies 190. Post contact meters, Warriors 454, and the Bunnies 587.
Wow.
Yeah, line breaks, Warriors only made one line break, and the Bunnies made 4. Tackle breaks, Warriors 28, Bunnies 16. Offloads, Rabbitohs 7, Warriors 3. Generally, we don't really offload the ball a lot, so I'm not too surprised with that one. Kicking meters, which the Bunnies really much dominated. The amount of kicks that they made, plenty of meters. So 762 to the Bunnies. Warriors 468. So
wow.
yeah.
Wow. That's a telling story in itself. Jeez.
Yeah, and forced dropouts. Bunnies had 2, Warriors had 1. Tackles made. So the Warriors had 413. The Bunnies had 283. Missed tackles, which is very interesting. So we had the Warriors 16, the Bunnies 28.
Wow.
And errors, mistakes. So errors, Warriors 13, Bunnies just 3. So yeah, what are your overall thoughts on those stats? Obviously they tell a story of pretty much the game, but what are your thoughts on those stats?
Yeah, it was. One of the guys said tonight it was a hard night at the office. And it was just a real shame because such a big crowd in Mount Smart, and it was hard not to felt stink for the players because when the crowd's not heavy, you can see people leaving, seats start emptying, and and it's just like, oh man. the rain by itself would have been enough just to, even for the heartiest players, fans, sorry.
Yep.
Even though they were still there, they still fronted right to the end. But I think even well before the full time whistle, the there was plenty of empty seats. So when you're talking about um, stats like that, then fans are going to talk with their feet. And yeah, sadly, sellout crowd, but yeah, it's. I mean, there's learning from it. There's heaps of learning from it.
Yeah.
They'll, the, the Warriors will take the cleaner learnings out of it. Um, yeah, and hopefully take it into the Eels game. And sorry, that's another thing I like about Andrew Webster. He doesn't get too far ahead.
Yeah.
With the whole just plotting games out. And I'd mentioned it on the Warriors TV a couple of months ago. It really feels like Webster's got a plan for each of the games, but he's only going to implement it one game at a time, rolling forward. And again, that's depending on where those other teams are at on the ladder, how they're playing, um,
Yep.
injuries. Everything that every single team faces. But I think Uncle Underu, that's where he's come up trumps. He didn't on Friday night, but hey, we're not going to win them all. Yeah.
Yeah, well said there. So we'll move on to the player range. So we'll get through these as quick as possible because it's a bit late over there in New Zealand for you. So we'll get through
Very
it
right.
quickly as possible. So we'll start off with the fullback there at Chance Nickel Klukstad, CNK. What were your thoughts on his performance and what rating do you give him out of 10?
Yeah, he was quiet.
Yeah,
When you consider for the last probably well over a month, I noticed he didn't carry the ball in that first half till well after coming up to 10 minutes before Chance
yeah,
actually put his hands on the ball, which was weird because yeah, when you consider Chance and Dallin and Montoya, even Adam, even Pompey, they Chance just wasn't. He was quiet. He was quiet. Whether that was a strategy, I'm not entirely sure.
yeah,
Um, I'd say he was well below his usual standard, but
yeah.
I would have given him a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'd probably say six-ish, but yeah, I can't give him any higher than that. Obviously, he's been very good for us this year, CNK.
Mm.
It's been great having him back at the club, and
Oh
you
yeah.
know, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, Reece Walsh is such a big blow, and I think CNK coming to the club, it's been, great. So yeah, I'll say six. For me, probably one of his. I wouldn't say one of his highest games, but he's
Mm.
I think he's just doing the job there. So yeah, six for me. Darlin Watini-Zelezniak, what were your thoughts on Darlin this week? Because he had a very good performance against the Dragons, but maybe this
Mm.
was one of his quietest games. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. Um, even when he got that intercept, and then
Yeah,
the video shows the knock on. Even once he got the intercept and he was running to the line, he
yep,
he looked like he had gumboots on. It was just like, mate,
yeah,
he looked like he was struggling. Um, but he was quiet. He was definitely quiet. Uh, yeah, and then he got stroked. That first try was just like, oh man.
yeah,
So yeah, I'd personally give him the same rating as Chance, really, but
yeah.
that's because he was well below his normal standard, and his normal standard is quite high. So probably, yeah, for me it was a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll probably have to. I'll agree with you on that one. Actually, I'll go the same there. Five for me, but obviously Dylan's just been very solid for us this year. He's been
Mm,
probably one of the consistent wingers for us, and obviously he had a slow start to the year with an injury, and but came good. He's been coming good since then. So yeah, I'll say DWZ Dylan. For me, it's a 5 as well. So centers now. So we got Rocco Berry. An interesting, player in the fan base in terms of performances and what people rate him. But Well, what about you? What were your thoughts on Rocco Berry in this game?
Yeah, I like the young fella.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say he was outstanding, but again, it was the conditions.
yeah,
But he done his job. He did. I think there was a couple of times in that second half. He ran at Cody and he was just trying
yeah,
it on, and it was just like, no, that's good to see that he'd try and take the old dog on. Or was opposite, but he was getting stuck in. But yeah, Sharks, Rocco. I'd give him a solid, yeah, 5 actually. I wouldn't say he was outstanding.
yeah,
He wasn't making heaps of, sorry, not that he makes heaps of mistakes, but he wasn't
yeah.
standing out for, yeah, silly stuff, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, this is tough because I love Rocco Berry. I'm a big fan of him, and I know he's got some critics, but I'm always pretty high on a player like Rocco Berry, and for this game, obviously it was tough. It was a bit of a tough one for him. So,
Mm,
um, I'll give him. I was going to give him a 4, but I'll probably give him a 5. I'll give him a 5 actually. I'm going to give him a 5 there. So, what about you? You said a 5? Was it a 5?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
5.
5 out of
Yeah,
10.
yeah. So 5 out of 10. So the other centre, so we got Adam Pompey. Now Adam Pompey's an interesting one, isn't he? He's a real interesting sort of player.
Yeah,
He can be
yeah,
a bit of rocks and diamonds sometimes.
yeah,
I think. What are your thoughts on his performance? What rating would you give him out of 10?
yeah. To be fair, Adam was solid.
Yeah,
Friday night, he was taking his share of the hit ups, which is always good to see, and um, he's holding his own. Um, he did do a couple of ugly passes to Montoya, and it was just
yeah,
like, oh wow, okay, um, uh, yeah, and I wasn't, the last couple of seasons. I really didn't like him. I just thought, bro. But again, under Uncle Underu, he's come right, and he's picked this game up and he's ironed out those mistakes. Um, yeah, I'd probably go maybe 4.5. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
That's fair.
maybe pushing for a 4.5, but just under it. Yeah, 4.5, bro.
Yeah, I'll probably say around. I'll say 4. Yeah, 4 for me. Yeah, I mean, he can have some good games, but he can have some, disappointing moments as well. Like
Yeah, yeah,
which I believe he's off contract at the end of the year, and I think there was talks around Newcastle.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there was talks around Newcastle signing him potentially, but I don't know. That rumor's sort of quieted down now, so I don't know how true that was. It's just a report, but yeah,
Well, yeah. Hopefully he'll, because it'll be a shame. But there are other, like the quality centres. Oh well, I mean they're good. They're solid centres.
yeah,
They've still got to come back. I can't remember the guy's name. Valia,
yeah,
and yeah, the Viliami. Um, yeah, if they get their chance, um, I could see them potentially pushing Adam or Rocco. Probably more Rocco than Adam. Adam seems to be Webby's favourite. He's stuck with him. He's shown faith in him, and to his credit, Adams come up. He's definitely come up better than last year. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, just quick. I'll just take a look at this comment here. So Jacko's saying here Pompey will be gone, and RTS will take his place. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, winger now. So the other winger in Marcelo Montoya. What are your thoughts on his performance? Obviously, he scored the opening try there, but what are your thoughts on his
Mm.
game in general, like whole match?
Yeah. Yep. Scored that opening try. Done that try saving tackle against Monroe,
Yeah,
and yeah, but then he got dragged out. And it's just like, in those conditions, and just where the headspace where the bunnies are at,
Yeah,
they just pounced on him, and it was just like, wow. It was a fundamental mistake to, to and it wasn't like he was real close to the sideline. The way they were driving him, just I'm sitting there watching that play and just waiting for the ref to go held, and it's like, nah, that's not coming,
yeah,
bro. Um, yeah, so, but I'd say Montoya was probably the best of the backs for me.
yeah,
Um, so I'd give him say 5.5 out of 10, a little bit better than his mates. But it was
yeah.
just those little mistakes he crept in the second half.
Yeah, and the close stuff saying yeah, Montoya needs to get those errors out of his game. Yeah, he has a bit of an error or two in his game, like he can
Yeah,
make a bit of a silly mistake, but yeah,
yeah,
obviously he does need to get that out of his game. So
yeah,
besides that, he can have he's had some upside as well. Like he can be pretty good as also. So yeah, look, I'll say I'll give him a 6. I think in regards to our backs and who our better backs were, I think you got to say that Montoya probably was for me one of our better backs on the field. Yeah, so for me it's a 6 there. Now to the halves now. So we've got there Luke Metcalf. What were your thoughts here on Luke Metcalf's performance? And yeah, what do you think out of 10? What do you give it sort of rating?
mm. Had a quiet night. Um,
Yep,
I like that for the last month that Metcalf's been on the paddock. I really like that he's not afraid of taking the line on.
yeah,
And even Friday night, there was a couple of times he just ran it straight,
yep,
and would give it a go, and that's how he's been playing. But I mean, outside of those little snipes, um, bit of a quiet one, solid enough defender because he did have a couple of those the bunnies second rows running at him, and I think Metcalf has always had Marata outside of him, looking after him. So
yep.
yeah, probably not one of his. He was just quiet. He was just quiet. So, oh, I'd say 5, solid 5 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah, and just the close stuff saying here in regards to Metcalf tried hard, couple of
Mm,
half breaks, but no one around him to take
yeah,
advantage of those. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Like I think he looked a bit dangerous with the ball at times. A couple of
mm,
times he, went through the middle there. But yeah, I do agree there. The close stuff. I think he definitely tried his hardest. For me as well. So. Look, Metcalf, I'll probably say I'll give him a 6. Yeah, solid 6 out of 10 for me. So, then we had halfback Sean Johnson, SJ. Um, what are your thoughts here on Sean Johnson's performance? Because maybe for this game probably was one of his quietest games.
yeah,
Obviously, but forward pack didn't help as well. We didn't have really a dominant forward, but AFB. But
mm,
what are your
yeah,
thoughts here on Johnson?
yeah. Shawnee, yeah, just was like his kicks, um, the bombs that he was putting up. Uh, yeah, it was like the bunnies. Um, it was like one of those games where the opposition almost dictating what you
Yeah,
can and can't be doing, and it felt like
yeah,
Shawnee was going to the bombs quite a lot, and it didn't feel like it was working as much as and you can understand that in those conditions, if we'd been putting pressure on the catches, because there was a couple of bombs that he put up, the catches had our defenders were almost a good 2 seconds behind them catching it, whereas I think there was only a couple of times we were right on top of them, but even then they were
yeah,
they diffused them pretty fast. They weren't as threatening as what they had
yep,
been. Um, yeah, Sean, he, like he's a class player. He's a class player, full stop. Um, yeah, that's a. Mm, I'm I'd probably tip him at 5.5, well below his own standard again. Like a couple of the other backs, just yeah, didn't adjust. I suppose, to the conditions, to what was happening, to the pressure the bunnies were putting on us. Um, yeah, even some of his kicks when he was kicking them out for penalties and stuff. I think one of those kicks was like
Yeah,
it looked like we'd only made less than 10 meters. It was like, wow, was that because was he kicking into the wind, or what? Because it was yeah, that was nah, yeah, I'd give him a 5.5, bro.
yeah. I agree. I'll go with a five there for me. Yeah, Sean's been having a very good year. It's probably his career
Mm,
best yes so far for us, and yeah, it's great to see he's happy again. But obviously, this
yeah,
game wasn't. Obviously, this game probably didn't really suit him really.
mm,
But yeah, look, I don't think he
yeah,
played. He probably had one of his quietest games. So yeah,
yep,
as the close
absolutely,
stuff saying here, can't do much as a spine if you're getting beat up front, trying to go around them, then help us see. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. The close stuff is not just our spine, our forward pack needs to make a difference as well. And no one really, stood out in our
mm,
forwards. So, Souths, you had your Cameron Murray's in there, and they played very well. So Cameron Murray, I thought was pretty dominant with regards to their forwards there. So
mm.
yeah, I do agree with your close stuff. So yeah, Adam Fanua Blake. Adam Fanua Blake's probably been, one of our most consistent forwards this year, every game. What were your thoughts on Adam Fanua Blake here in regards to how he played? Obviously, he had that Sinman. I think he still ran for over 100 plus meters in
Yeah.
terms of stats here. But what were your thoughts here on AFB's performance in this one?
I'm actually going to cheat, bro, because I've got so I had to rate the forwards um,
Yep.
tonight. So I've got my ratings for them. So yes,
No worries.
Um, Aiden ran for 139 meters. There was 14 hit ups, 56 post contact meters. Made 26 tackles, missed one, and tackle
Yep.
breaks or punched the line 3 times. So and for me, he was outstanding, and he played for 58 minutes. So, with the yeah, okay, he got sent off, but prior to that, he was by far our best forward. Um, and in regards to those conditions, I actually gave him, I gave Aiden an 8 out of 10.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'll give Adam Fanua Blake here a 7. Yeah, 7 for me. 7 out of 10 for me. And now to the other prop was Bunty Afoa.
Mm.
Bunty Afoa. What were your thoughts on Bunty's performance? And what rating would you give him in this one?
Yeah, he was. I thought he was probably one of Bunty's better games.
Yeah.
So he was on the paddock for 37 minutes, ran for 79 meters, done 10 hit ups, 29 post contact meters, 26 tackles and 0 misses, and he punched the line once. So, but I guess that's their tackle stat, and that's his trademark actually. That he's solid. He's solid on defense. Yeah, and I just love seeing the way that he was punching the line. And even though he was only on for just over half an hour, he I thought he was definitely one of our better forwards. Behind Aiden, he was my number two. So I gave him a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, I'm going to give him a solid 6. Yeah, I'll give him a 6 out of 10 there. But yeah, that's I think a Bunty at 5. Look, I thought his game was probably his best he's played this year. I think it
Mm,
was one of his better performances because myself and probably a lot of Warriors fans have been pretty critical of Bunty's performances this year. Like he's not, getting a lot of meters in terms of runs and that, but no, I think he did pretty solid in this game actually.
mm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I'll give him a 6. Jackson Ford. Jackson Ford. What do you reckon here in Jackson Ford?
Jacko, Jacko. So Jacko played the whole game. He was out there for
Yep.
80 minutes. Uh, 87 run meters. That was 9 hit ups. 42 post contact meters. Made 51 tackles with 1 miss and breached the line 5 times. So um, yeah, when you consider he was out there for the entire game, he was pretty tireless actually.
Yeah.
He was right up there. So Jacko. So I gave Jacko 7, a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, look, I'm probably on that sort of. I'm on pretty much similar to what you are on Jackson Ford. Actually, I thought it was pretty solid, pretty good in this game actually, and I'm gonna go. I'll go with a 6.5 out of 10. Actually, yeah, a 6.5 out of 10 for me for Jackson Ford. Actually, I thought, I think he can put his hand up and say he played all right. Actually, for this
Mm,
one. So yeah, 6 for me. Mitchell Barnett. What do you reckon here?
yeah, big Barney. Um, so Mitchell's on the field for 69 minutes. Ran for 113 meters. That was 11 hit ups.
Yep.
57 post contact meters. Made 39 tackles, which is still a decent count. Um, but made 5 missed tackles. Um, yeah, and breached the
Yep.
line twice. So managed to poke his head through 2 times. Um, yeah, I didn't think he played too bad actually,
Yeah.
but he what was it? He dropped the ball in the first half. SJ gave him a cut pass and he fumbled it, and then
Yeah.
he threw that forward pass to Chance in the second half. So yeah, it was he for me he would have scored a bit higher, but I gave Mitch a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And the close to us saying Mitch missed Barnett in the middle. So yeah, look, I'll go 6. Yeah, solid 6 for me for Mitchell Barnett, 6 out of 10. Now to the lock, that was Tohu Harris, the captain. Um, what do you think? What were your thoughts on his game?
Yeah, so Tohu was out there for 71 minutes, almost the entire game. Um, ran for 125 meters. That was 9 hit ups. 62 post contact meters. Made 51 tackles and 0 misses. So yeah,
Yeah.
that but didn't breach the line either. Um, so zero
Yep.
tackle breaks. But um, that's that tackle stat speaks for himself. He's always going to lead from the front in defense. And yeah. Again, the conditions weren't the greatest, but I gave Tohu a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I will give him a 7 out of 10 for me for Tohu Harris. Now, just quickly run through the bench here. So we got Dylan Walker. What were your thoughts on Dylan Walker?
Yeah, he was when he came on. He was trying different stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think in regards to the bench, it was interesting that that Webby didn't bring them on sooner, or was a
Yeah.
bit more strategic with how to rotate the players. Yeah, but Dylan for me wasn't he definitely wasn't one of our worst players. Um, I'd give him a solid 5.5, five
Yeah,
point
for
five out
me,
of 10.
yep. 5 for you. 5.5. Did you say?
5.5. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I'll go. I'll go 6.5 out of 10 for me. Bailey Sheridan. What do you think?
Um, I liked when he did come on because I think when he subbed on, we were defending our
Yeah.
goal line, and he
Yeah.
put a couple of good hits in. Um,
Yeah.
so he was hunting, and I think he knew, um, especially with Marata not there, someone's got to fill that gap. But again, yeah, he's a good bench player. Um, and when he comes on, he does give us good service. Whether they've got him running in the second row or even as a backup hooker, he's always going to be solid. So yeah, I think Bailey for me, 5.5.
Yeah, I'll probably say five. Five for me. 5 out of 10 for me. Then we've got Tom Harley. I think he was the last player
Mm.
on the bench spot there. Well, what do you reckon on Tom Harley?
Um. Oh. No, yeah. No. Nothing really jumps out. The
Yeah,
young fella got out there, done his job.
yep.
Um, he was trying, but behind a pack that was struggling to make yards. But I'd have to go a solid five. Yeah, five
Yeah,
out of ten.
nothing.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, nothing really stood out for me in regards to Tom Harley, but I'll probably say I'll go five for me, 5 out of 10 there. So, yeah, those are the player ratings now. So that's pretty much the review and the player ratings. So, just want to give you a quick opinion on this week's game against the Eels, and then we'll wrap this up. Obviously, being a bit late over there, so we'll wrap this up soon. So, yeah, just a quick question in regards to this week. In regards to team selections, obviously we've got a bit of rumours out there that Sean Johnson may not be named this week. He may not be playing because his wife is expecting their second child. So a big congratulations there to
Yeah,
Sean and his
yeah,
wifey. There, who would you bring into the side this week um, to play with Luke Metcalf in the halves, or would you drop one the other, or would you keep Luke Metcalf in there, bring in Tamari Martin, or bring in a Dylan Walker into the halves? What would you do?
yeah. That's a hard one, bro. I'd my head says Dylan Walker at half,
Yep.
with Metcalf as standoff. Um, potentially you could have Volkman starting.
Yeah.
So it's you gotta weigh it up between those two, because Dylan from the bench is actually a really good impact player. Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll probably be leaning more towards Dylan as half, but I wouldn't be surprised if Volkman starts at seven.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously, if you looked at our cup side, they had a win on the weekend as well.
Mm,
In that game, um, Volkman's been playing very good for the cup side this year. He's pretty much up there in terms of goal kicking stats as well, and he's doing a great job. And I think you've also got Tamari Martin. I probably think he's still quite a while away, so I don't think he'll
yeah,
be named this
yeah,
week anyway. So
yeah.
he'll still be a few weeks away from returning to the side. So I think that once he gets back, I think they'll play him in cup. I think they'll play him in New South Wales Cup first, and then they will give him some time in there, and then maybe bring him back into the side. I think they'll stick with, once Johnson. Obviously Johnson's going to be probably out for just one game, but he'll be back in. So I think
Yeah,
they'll
yeah, yeah.
stick with Metcalf and Johnson for a while. But this week I think maybe they'll go with someone like a Volkman, or
Mm,
you know or maybe a Dylan Walker might go into the halves here.
mm. Dylan does have impact from the bench. He's a
Yeah.
really good impact player.
Yep.
Um, you know, you put him on from the 20-minute mark. And he does. He just adds an extra bit of spice,
Yeah.
especially when we're on attack.
Yeah, and the close stuff, absolutely. I actually do agree with you on this one. It has to be Volkman. We need Walker on the bench. Yeah, I think Walker, for me, is better coming off the bench in terms
Mm,
of an impact player more than playing in the halves. I think it's just, it suits the side a lot more better because,
mm,
I think our attack flows more for me. So, yeah, I do agree. If you're going to have Walker, you can't remove him from that bench utility role. I think he's better off that sort of role. I think that's how
yeah,
he plays. I think when he brings that impact off the bench for us is very good for us. And I think Ronald Volkman. I think you're going to bring in someone like Ronald Volkman. So
yeah,
I think that's the way I go this week. I think Volkman with Metcalf in the halves this week with with Johnson if he's out. So
Yeah.
that'll be my halves pairing, which we'll find out tomorrow. The team will
Yeah.
stay on Tuesday, so
Yeah.
when the teams get named. So just quickly, a prediction for this week's games. Obviously, we haven't seen the teams yet, but just take a little pop guess. What do you reckon this week on Saturday down there at Parramatta Stadium? There,
Mm.
Parramatta will be missing quite a few players. They'll have no Moses. They'll have a few outs with Origin camp. What do you reckon? Is it going to be one of those games where we can where we're going to win? Whether it's going to be an easy win, or do you think this is going to be another tough sort of game? Because a lot of people are saying expect us to win this one, being with those players out. What do you think?
Yeah. It'll. Yeah. Like you're saying, bro, it will be a tough game. Eels are on a bit of a roll. It's their home game, and their Combank Stadium's a bit of a fortress for them. So, part of me's, I think we'll win it, but only just.
Yep.
I think yeah, it'll be something like 2018 to us.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, but I think that pretty much wraps it up, guys. So just would like to thank Rio Daniela from the Warriors Fan TV on YouTube. So they do a great job there. So go and check them out. Warriors Fan TV on YouTube, TikTok. They're on Facebook as well. They've got a Facebook page. So anywhere you can find them there. And Monday nights, I believe they do their live shows on Facebook. Is that right?
Yeah, bro.
Yep. So Monday night, you guys do a live sort of, chat, like a review, like something similar to what I do here. Where you guys do a review. You've got a few panelists as well, a few people coming on, and so they do a review. And also after the Warriors games at Mount Smith Stadium, if you're in Auckland, if you do see Nick, he's the guy that does the interviews. Make sure you go and say hello to Nick and chat about the game afterwards as well. So they're always outside the ground after at the stadium. So yeah, they do interviews with the fans and give fans perspective on the game. So, which is pretty awesome. I like seeing that sort of stuff.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah. Like football channels do it quite a lot. You've got your Arsenal Fan TV and all those channels. So, so it's pretty cool to see that the Warriors. Nick started off that sort of platform where he does that sort of stuff. So I like listening to the fans because it's great hearing their perspective on the game.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, just thanks heaps, Christian. Yeah, it's always good to talk to Warriors fans. We're all gonna have different opinions about the team, the boys, the game, reviews, blah blah blah. Politics in and outside of the team, the game, the club. But it's like the Warriors fan TV. We're just talking shop about our team. And we're always gonna. We love them. We love talking about them. We love just putting it out there, kind of thing. But thanks for the opportunity tonight, just to jump on your YouTube channel thingy. I have, like I said to you earlier, I have no idea how the technology stuff works. I generally need my kids to work my phone. But it was choice, bro. It's choice to sit down and have a yak here, and I love the stuff you're doing too.
Yeah. Thanks for that, and I appreciate the support. And like I said there, you guys do a great job. You've just started off this year, but you're doing some great work as well. And big shout out to Nick, the host there of Warriors Fan TV, the main man behind it all, and he gets a lot of support for a lot of the Warriors supporters. I think all the Warriors supporters, we always share that love to the Warriors community. There's so many. There's so many out there now. We've got Warriors podcasts and channels. As many as there used to be. Like there wasn't many out there to what there are now. So that's awesome. But yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Like I said, there, make sure you go and check out Warriors Fan TV. Like I said before, and also don't forget, if you are a new viewer, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Trying to get to 3K by the end of the year. So see if we can get there 3K subscribers. Make sure you also don't forget to like this live stream. Click the thumbs up on the live stream. as well. Share the live stream around, everyone. Share the video around. Tomorrow night we'll be back on the YouTube channel again for another live show for the preview. Joining me for that one, I've got the Para Cave podcast. He's going to be joining me. He's a Parramatta fan, so we're going to preview the Parramatta Eels clash for this week's game, which I'm looking forward to having him on for the first time as well. So cheers everyone for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you all soon. And go the Warriors. Cheers everyone.
Go the Warriors. Cheers, bro.
Cheers.